Hello and welcome to Main Street Matters by Heart on Main Street, the podcast that can see, feel, hear, smell, and taste success for your store. I am your host, Patrick Keiser. Can you believe it? After this episode, we will be halfway through our 10 takeaways from the book Why We Buy by Paco Underhill. So far, we've explored the outside of the store, where the experience starts, the entryway in the transition zone into the store, the tendency for customers to gravitate to the right, and the importance of making customers feel comfortable so they can have time to make decisions about the products inside your store. Today, we're returning to a topic that I discussed in another episode and mentioned in our very first episode of our summer book club. I said I would dedicate a whole episode to the subject later, and now is later, so here we are. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on how customer experience products in the store and how store owners can stimulate the senses to encourage purchases. As humans, we use our senses to explore the world around us and gather information about objects. It's all about collecting information. At its core, that's what shopping is too. We rely on our senses to decide whether or not we want to walk out of the store with that item as a new possession. So grab that cozy soft blanket, light your favorite smelling candle, and come in close so you can hear better as we talk about how retailers can use senses to boost sales. For this episode structure, we're going to discuss each sense individually and how retailers can and want to engage that sense. Some senses naturally blend together. You usually have to see something to touch it, or you can touch something to make it make a sound, but I'm going to do my best to categorize them. We will cover the auditory sense, the sense of sight, smell, taste, and touch. We're not going to be discussing that sixth sense that Haley Joel Osment had, although some retail stores, especially in older buildings, might be haunted. Paco Underhill's research reveals a very intriguing fact. Nearly every unplanned purchase in retail stores result from engaging the senses while on the store's premise. This alone should demonstrate the power of sensory engagement. While planned purchases are important, it's the spontaneous impulse buys made in the store that can significantly increase your revenue. Paco's main point is that customers want to experience what an item does, and if it does something, really anything, it should be doing it in your store. So we're going to start off with the auditory sense. Often this is a mood setter for the entire store. The usage of sound can set the tone for the entire environment within your store. If you want the mood to be calm and serene, there's music for that. If you want it to be upbeat and vibrant, play music that reflects this. Your customers will reflect this in the way that they shop and move around your store. Depending on the store and music selection, you can even sell the music or have a link back to your playlist so they can listen to it at home as well. One caution with music in the store is that you want to avoid the radio or unpaid Spotify. Either put together a playlist or play an album, but you don't want to have commercials coming on and interrupting the shopping experience, and maybe even advertising for a competitor while people are in your shop. So if that means that you have to fork up the $10 a month for premium Spotify, not to get your ads, it's totally worth it. Besides setting the mood, there are several ways to use the sense of hearing to persuade customers. One method directly relates to Underhill's main point is that customers need to experience what the product is doing and what it's meant to do. For example, if you were selling wind chimes, having them in their box accomplishes nothing. People want to hear the sound to understand what it's going to sound like at their house. While the design of the wind chime matters, and there's lots of variants of designs, the sound that it produces is far more important for this product. These should be displayed in a way that invites customers to run their hand along the wind chime, to hear it, and have it make the noise. If space is limited in your store, there's ways around that. Consider recording the sounds and providing a portfolio or a display that allows customers to interact with them and listen, and they can see what the product looks like and listen to it. Once they've chosen the product, they can then take the box. Another way to engage customers through hearing is through conversation. Nothing sells a product like people talking about it. Creating an atmosphere where customers discuss and share opinions about items will boost sales. This approach works especially well with apparel, where trying on items encourages discussion about how they look, but also consider how you can create spaces that inspire conversation about your products. Sight that we're going to be moving into might be the most universal sense in the retail environment. Naturally, the customer needs to see the product before considering buying it. Basically, this means at its core that the product must be visible and not hidden or lost amongst 200 other items on a display. It also involves taking the item out of the box. Customers want to see the actual product that they plan to purchase, or at least a similar one, because no one wants to buy that sample, right? But there are more ways to engage visual perception. Signage is an effective method to inform customers about features of a product that might not be immediately obvious. Signage or imagery can also create a new reality or fantasy for the customer. Underhill notes that an image of a sharply dressed man resembling James Bond sells far more tuxes than the sign that simply says formal wear. This approach is similar to how cigarette ads depicted young, healthy people enjoying outdoor activities to promote their products. Effective imagery can transport the customer into a world where they are the hero of the ad, forming a connection with that created environment. If you can show an image where the product fills a gap in their lives, they are far more likely to purchase it. When using sight in signage, understanding your audience is crucial. Around age 40, the human eyesight tends to change. A yellowing effect occurs where everything begins to look a little more yellow than it did with younger eyes. This means that older audiences require higher contrast in signage, larger text, and bolder elements to catch their attention compared to those under 40. Underhill also stresses the usage of mirrors in stores to engage sight. Mirrors naturally slow people down and can even stop them in their tracks. Properly placed mirrors help customers visualize how something would look on them. However, he cautions that mirrors should not make the store look like a funhouse. They need to be quality mirrors, clear and undistorted, and placed strategically around the store, not on every wall, in order to be effective. The final key aspect of sight is the use of product demonstrations. When items need to be demonstrated, having a staff member showcase the product can be a powerful sales tool. Customers can see how the product works, imagine themselves using it, and learn about its features and benefits. If a staff member can't always demonstrate the product, a screen showing someone using it can be nearly as effective. Like cavemen gathered around a campfire, people enjoy watching screens, which can be used in many ways, providing information, providing testimonials, demonstrations, product advertisements, and vendor marketing. They are excellent ways to engage the sense of sight within a store. The next two senses really focus on engaging the saliva glands. Underhill points out that people will buy more when their saliva glands are engaged. One great way to do this is through the sense of smell. I discussed in a previous episode how stores can use a signature scent to engage customers and make the store more memorable. Smell is strongly tied to memory, and engaging the sense of smell can evoke powerful memories and responses. Think about that, creating a meaningful memory, and consider how your store can tap into those associations to create particular atmospheres. Scents like warm bread or freshly baked cookies might be perfect for a store that sells home accessories and kitchen items. The mind recalls baking experiences, and customers start looking for items that can help recreate that feeling. The smell of baby powder reminds the brain of a new baby and the joys associated with it. which would be ideal for a store selling baby items, kids items. If you sell coffee, find a way to let the customers smell the coffee beans. Sales are going to spike overnight. Campfire scents work really well for outdoor stores, while pineapple and coconut smells can evoke tropical vacations. You can also allow customers to select their own memories by making candles accessible and encouraging interaction. For in-store candles, using cloches to cover them serves really two purposes. First, it traps the scent until someone interacts with it, since not everyone responds positively to various smells, and too many scents can drive a customer away. The cloches keep the smell contained until you choose to release it. The second reason is that if used properly, people are meant to smell the inside of the cloche, not the candle itself. This prevents customers from constantly touching the candle, the wick, the label, the wax, which could damage the product itself. When using scents, it's important to know your audience. Just like with people's eyesights changing over time, so does their sense of smell. Customers under 30 tend to prefer fruitier, sweeter scents, while older customers lean towards savory and bitter notes. Smell has a powerful influence on how we perceive products and our experience with them and the feelings that they evoke. Effectively incorporating scent into your store can persuade customers to buy things they might not have otherwise even considered. Our next sense is taste. In many retail stores, this has been a challenging sensation to incorporate into the experience. First, many gift, home, and apparel stores don't sell food or drinks, so the assumption is that they have nothing to offer with taste. Additionally, there's concerns that if they do provide samples of food items, customers might touch other products with their greasy, dirty fingers, ruining perfectly good items. And who wants to buy a sweater with a grease stain or cookie crumbs on the sleeve? These are valid points. But as shopping science has advanced, it has shown that offering a tasting sample isn't just about selling that specific item, which it will do, but it's also what happens when people get something to eat. Think of Costco or your local supermarket on a Sunday. The samples are there to promote particular products, of course, but the science of shopping reveals that people tend to spend more time in the store and buy more if they have a bite to eat or something to drink. So Costco isn't just being friendly by handing out Swedish meatballs. They understand that if you take a meatball, you're more likely to buy that meatball and a dozen other items that you wouldn't have considered if you hadn't had a chance to try a snack. For independent retailers, gourmet foods and snacks have surged because independent retailers have finally figured out how to effectively offer samples in store. And I don't mean finally as though it was ignorance, but because of logistical issues that exist. Customers with samples can accidentally damage other products. Food left out openly can spoil or look unappealing as the day progresses. Snacks can go stale when left exposed, leading to waste that could have been sold instead. Recently, I've noticed many stores switching to small, individually packaged plastic bags, like the self-sealing ones that hold 3 or 4 pieces of the product for sampling. The product stays fresh, there's no mess, the customer's hands won't get coated in flavors and spread them all around the store. It requires some preparation, but otherwise people will intuitively understand that they can pick up a plastic bag and try the food. In grocery stores, 90% of items fail not because they are bad, but because nobody tries them. So give people a taste. When they have food in their hands and less empty stomachs, they will shop more. Our final sense to consider is touch. The ability to feel a product is crucial to the shopping experience and is utilized with nearly every item. People want to touch towels, bed linens, and clothing to gauge how it's going to feel on their bodies. They also want to feel lotions, moisturizers, lipstick, makeup, and powders to assess the texture and viscosity. Even hardware store customers want to handle and test hammers to determine if they're the right size and weight for their needs. The same applies to handbags, suitcases, briefcases, umbrellas, knives, spatulas, tongs, wallets, or any item you'll carry. Seeing something provides a good idea of the product, but it's far less effective than actually holding it. Therefore, stores should make products available to touch. In fact, fostering contact with items should be a key purpose of the store. Like with foods, if samples are available, use them, especially for lotions and lipsticks that will be applied to the skin. Without samples, people will make their own, and no one wants to buy a used item, it's causing you to lose sales. Within displays, it's important to communicate that touching is okay. Sometimes a display is done so perfectly, immaculately, and so beautifully that even I hesitate to touch it for fear of damaging the installation. As a result, it remains untouched and the products go unsold. The store owner or merchandiser might wonder what went wrong. After all, they created a stunning display, but nothing was bought. Sometimes, if a display is too perfect, people won't interact with it out of fear of ruining something beautiful. A slight imperfection, like a missing item or a small flaw, can signal that it's okay to touch the item and that it's meant to be shopped. Make products accessible, touchable, and interactive. The more that people are able to handle the items, the more likely they are going to make the purchase. For shoppers, possession doesn't start at the moment of purchase. That is actually a moment of loss because they've spent money. Possession begins when the customer has the item in their hands, on their back, or in their mouth. The more that you can encourage customers to begin the process of possession, the more that you're going to sell. So those are our 5 senses and ways to use them to engage the customer in the shopping process. For my retailer friends, I want you to analyze how well you're engaging senses in your store. As you walk around, are you engaging all 5 senses? Are there opportunities to utilize more senses in your selling process? I hope this all makes sense to you. I can't wait to hear how things go. Thank you all so much for listening. Stay safe, shop local, and keep your heart on Main Street. This episode was written, produced, researched, and edited by me, Patrick Keiser, with a very special thanks to Paco Underhill and his book, Why We Buy. For more information about Heart on Main Street, you can visit www.heartonmainstreet.org. You can always reach out to us if you have any feedback by emailing contact@heartonmainstreet.org. Thanks. Bye.